Throughout the centuries, the papacy has been one of the most enduring and influential institutions in human history. From shaping empires to defending doctrine, from commissioning timeless works of art to navigating wars and schisms, certain popes have wielded their authority with such force and conviction that they altered the very course of Christianity, and in many cases, world history. In this detailed exposé, we journey through time to uncover the most powerful popes in church history, examining their legacy, influence, and in the case of number 3, the decision that forever changed the future of Catholicism, and arguably the world. Please, subscribe, like, comment and share our channel. 1. Pope Gregory I, Gregory the Great, the architect of the medieval church. Reigning from 590 to 604 AD, Pope Gregory I is often referred to as Gregory the Great, and for good reason. A former monk, Gregory transformed the papacy into a central force for both spiritual leadership and civic authority during the early Middle Ages. He launched missions to convert the Anglo-Saxons, strengthened monasticism, and significantly developed the liturgical and administrative structure of the Church. His writings shaped Christian theology for centuries, and he also reformed the Church's finances and charity efforts. His papacy marked the beginning of the papacy's role as a moral and administrative anchor in a fractured Europe. 2. Pope Urban II, the Crusader commander. Pope Urban II, who reigned from 1088 to 1099, is best remembered for launching the First Crusade in 1095. With a passionate speech at the Council of Clermont, he called upon Western Christians to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim control. This single act sparked centuries of religious conflict, pilgrimage, and cultural exchange. The Crusades defined medieval Christian identity and left lasting political and spiritual legacies. Urban's ability to mobilize European kingdoms under a religious cause showed the immense influence of the Pope over kings and commoners alike. 3. Pope Innocent III, the theocrat who changed everything. Reigning from 1198 to 1216, Pope Innocent III was perhaps the most powerful pope in history when it comes to political influence and ecclesiastical authority. He claimed supremacy over all European monarchs, excommunicated kings, including King John of England, and imposed interdicts on entire nations. Under his leadership, the Fourth Lateran Council in 1215 defined key doctrines of the Church, including the concept of transubstantiation, a theological pivot that deeply shaped Catholic Eucharistic theology. But what truly changed the Church forever was his emphasis on papal supremacy not just in spiritual matters, but in the temporal realm as well. Innocent III transformed the Pope into a universal monarch of Christendom, setting a model that would echo throughout the Middle Ages. 4. Pope Leo I, Leo the Great, the defender of Rome. Pope Leo I, who served from 440 to 461, was the first pope to truly articulate the doctrine of papal primacy. He defended the authority of the Roman See in both ecclesiastical and political crises. One of his most iconic moments came in 452 AD, when he personally met Attila the Hun outside the gates of Rome and persuaded him to turn back, a legendary moment that elevated the Pope to the status of moral protector of the city. Leo's theological contributions, particularly during the Council of Chalcedon, cemented his influence on Christological doctrine. He made the case that the Pope held unique authority as Peter's successor, a concept that has been foundational to the papacy ever since. 5. Pope Julius II, the Warrior Pope. Nicknamed the Warrior Pope, Julius II, reigned 1503 to 1513, was not content to rule only with prayer. Donning armor and leading troops into battle, Julius sought to restore and defend the Papal States with brute strength. But Julius's lasting power wasn't limited to the battlefield. He was a major patron of the arts, commissioning Michelangelo to paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling and laying the foundation stone for the new St. Peter's Basilica. Under Julius, the papacy reached the height of its political and artistic prestige during the Renaissance. 6. Pope Pius IX, the longest reigning and most controversial. Serving from 1846 to 1878, Pius IX held the longest papal reign in history. His tenure saw the declaration of the dogma of the Immaculate Conception and the convocation of the First Vatican Council, which defined papal infallibility when speaking ex cathedra on faith and morals. Pius IX also oversaw the loss of the Papal States and the unification of Italy, transforming the Pope from a monarch into a primarily spiritual leader. His ultramontanist vision of papal authority deeply shaped modern Catholicism. 7. Pope John Paul II, the Global Shepherd. Elected in 1978, Pope John Paul II became a global figurehead not only for Catholicism but also for human rights and freedom. Hailing from Poland, he became the first non-Italian pope in over 450 years and used his platform to confront communism, especially in Eastern Europe. He played a crucial role in the fall of the Iron Curtain, championed the dignity of human life, and visited more countries than any other pope in history. His impact on interreligious dialogue, youth engagement, and global evangelization has left an enduring mark. 8. Pope Leo XIII, the Social Reformer. Pope Leo XIII, 1878–1903, is often considered the first modern pope. His encyclical Rerum Novarum, 1891, addressed the rights and conditions of workers, laying the foundation for modern Catholic social teaching. He attempted to bridge the gap between the Church and modernity, embracing science, education, and human rights while maintaining doctrinal integrity. His intellectual approach gave new credibility to the Church in a rapidly changing world. 9. Pope Paul III, the Counter-Reformation catalyst. Reigning from 1534 to 1549, Pope Paul III was the force behind the Council of Trent, which became the cornerstone of the Catholic Counter-Reformation. Facing the Protestant Reformation, Paul III reasserted Catholic doctrine and reformed church structures to address corruption and abuses. He also approved the founding of the Society of Jesus, Jesuits, who became key defenders of Catholic orthodoxy and missionaries across the globe. 10. Pope Benedict XVI, the Theologian Pope. Though more reserved in demeanor, Pope Benedict XVI, 2005–2013, wielded immense theological power. As a cardinal and then as pope, he helped steer the Church through crises of faith, moral confusion, and secular pressure. His writings and encyclicals focused on the harmony of faith and reason, liturgical reform, and the re-evangelization of the Western world. His unexpected resignation shocked the world and redefined the nature of papal office in the modern era. 11. Pope Clement VII, the Pope who faced the Reformation and Rome's fall. Pope Clement VII, 1523–1534, witnessed one of the most turbulent times in Church history. He was pope during the Protestant Reformation and the sack of Rome in 1527 by the armies of Emperor Charles V. Despite facing overwhelming political and theological pressures, Clement's decisions, including his refusal to annul the marriage of King Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon, led to England's break with Rome and the formation of the Anglican Church. Though criticized for indecisiveness, Clement's papacy marks a critical turning point in global Christianity, demonstrating the high stakes of papal authority amid religious upheaval. 12. Pope Sixtus V, the architect of the modern papacy. Reigning from 1585 to 1590, Pope Sixtus V dramatically reorganized the Church's administrative structure. He reformed the Roman Curia, established the 15 congregations that still govern the Church today, and codified church law. Sixtus V also financed massive infrastructure projects in Rome, including aqueducts, roads, and the Dome of St. Peter's Basilica. Known for his iron will, moral rigor, and intense discipline, he turned the papacy into a streamlined and centralized institution ready for the challenges of the modern world. 13. Pope Alexander VI, the controversial power broker. Though infamous for nepotism and corruption, Pope Alexander VI, Rodrigo Borgia, 1492–1503, remains one of the most politically powerful pontiffs in Church history. His papacy was marked by bold diplomacy, strategic marriages, and territorial ambition. He expanded the influence of the Papal States and played a pivotal role in dividing the New World between Spain and Portugal via the Treaty of Tordesillas. Despite his scandals, Alexander's legacy is a stark reminder of the immense political power once wielded by the papacy, and the dangers of moral compromise. 14. Pope Pius XII, the Pope of War and Peace. Pope Pius XII, 1939–1958. Led the Church through the Second World War and the rise of communism. His leadership during this time remains both venerated and controversial. While some criticize his public silence regarding the Holocaust, others praise his behind-the-scenes efforts to save thousands of Jews and his complex diplomacy during wartime. He defined the dogma of the Assumption of Mary in 1950 and was instrumental in the early development of Catholic engagement with science and medicine. His scholarly and spiritual leadership shaped the Catholic Church during one of the most perilous moments in modern history. 15. Pope Francis, the Pope of the Margins. Elected in 2013, Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope, the first from the Southern Hemisphere, and the first from the Americas. His papacy has centered on mercy, inclusion, social justice, and a church for the poor. Francis has challenged the global church to re-examine its priorities, from environmental stewardship, Laudato Si, to reforming the Curia and addressing sexual abuse. His leadership style is deeply pastoral and people-centered, often stirring both admiration and debate. By prioritizing humility, global dialogue, and the decentralization of papal authority, Pope Francis is redefining what it means to be a powerful pope in the 21st century. Finally, these 15 powerful popes reveal the many ways the Bishop of Rome can change the world, through doctrine, diplomacy, reform, resistance, and renewal. Whether by guiding the faithful through times of peace or leading them with courage in moments of darkness, these pontiffs left legacies that still shape Catholic life today. Some inspired awe, others controversy. But all wielded the spiritual and political authority of the chair of Peter to influence the destiny of nations and the eternal souls of men.